there's a lot of what I'm calling non-controversy going on in the world with drag right now. What would be your message to those who have a hot take about drag, but why should people give drag a chance? Tsunami? Oh,
girl, what I say to that is come to a show. Come to a show and you will see that everything, all those false narratives, like you said, what was it that you called it? Yes, because it really is nonsense. You know what I mean? Drag has been going on for years, so to now come and nitpick, girl, come to a show and you will leave with a smile and a new sense of life. Okay, so that's what I have to say to the non-believers. Come to a show.
I mean, what is drag doing to anyone but putting smiles on their faces? Drag has been around years and years and years, and it has never been an issue. Why all of a sudden now it's an issue? I mean, we love performing, and I can speak for all of my sisters. Everyone loves performing and putting smiles on people's faces, and y'all trying to take that away from us. It's not right, and it's nonsense, of course. But drag is love. Drag is art, and all we're doing is expressing ourselves.
I grew up in a political family, and I've seen a lot of political controversy, with a C, controversy, go down in my family. And I think that as queer people become more and more visible in the mainstream, and as we dismantle systems of oppression and systems of power that have been in place for centuries and centuries, for, as long, if not a less amount of time than drag has existed, then structures of power become intimidated by communities that find leadership. And with openness and with visibility like that provided by RuPaul's Drag Race and other queer programming and other mainstream forms of queer representation, structures of power that have always been are feeling threatened by us for no legitimate reason other than we threaten their own power. Mm-hmm. And as long as queer people have existed, there have been queer people who have been in need of a platform and visibility and voice. And now that we live in a modern century where queer people can be recognized as queer people, I think that people are intimidated by us because we finally have leadership in people like RuPaul and people like in organizations like the ACLU with the Drag Defense Fund and all of the organizations working to provide a platform for us, specifically for our Black and brown trans brothers and sisters and siblings. There is so much more power in what we do because there is so much more visibility, and that threatens people. But mama, we have never gone anywhere. We are not going anywhere. And if anything, we are only revving up, bitch.
Yes.
Period.
Geneva, last word real quick over to you in the time we have left on giving drag a chance.
Honestly, like, drag is fun. Drag is for everyone. And we are not hurting anyone, but, just some of us, this is our only income, and some of us do it for fun. So like, it's not really a threat to anyone, but the person that feels threatened by it. And that's just, like the way they want to see it. But honestly, like, drag is fun.
I want to hear from you. Where would you be without drag? A mandatory meeting.
I mean, not to get too dark, but drag has saved my life on multiple occasions. So I wouldn't be doing so hot. Let's just put it that way.
You?
Without drag, I don't know. I would feel lost. I go to sleep and I think about drag, and I wake up and I'm thinking about drag. It's my life, and it's one of the things that I like majorly live for. So I honestly don't know. I don't know what I would be. Bitch, I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't playing dress up on the weekends. Girl, I'll
be making a different coin right now, I think, right?
Work at a cell phone store.
Honey, Cricket Wireless.
Literally.
You would be at Boost Mobile.
Girl.
Dawn, over to you. Where would you be without drag, my love?
I think quite literally speaking, if I didn't have drag, I would probably be like spinning my wheels at some software development company, because that's what I went to school for. But I like, in a metaphysical level, like, I would just be a shell of a person of who I am, because Dawn has given me so much freedom and expression to do whatever it is that I want to do, as opposed to being like confined to the shackles of like our like really boring society.
Couldn't agree more. Hershey, liqueur jeté. The last word on this one. Where would you be without drag? And why should people give drag a chance if they haven't already?
I probably would have been like running around St. Louis somewhere like bored. I tell people all the time, I didn't find drag. Drag found me. I used to tell everybody, literally 10 years ago, I used to tell people, I'm not doing that. That's too much work. Lashes, nails, breasts, ill. And drag kept making its way back to me. So like a man, I could say like pretty much all of us, if I'm speaking for them, like drag pretty much found me and saved my life. Like it got me out of St. Louis. It got me in multiple cities. Like it made me more creative. It made me the performer I've always wanted to be. Because I used to want to be in K-pop, but that's a story for another day.
We'll revisit that one later in the season.
It literally like made me everything that I was meant to be, including a parent. You can get juice in just a second. All right? In just a second. In just a second. I'm sorry. Okay.
Bye. Get over here.
You want to say hi real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just real quick. Go.
Hi.
Say hi, GLAAD.
Say hi, GLAAD. Say mwah.
Oh
Mwah.
my God. Yes, this is a family program.
Hello.
Hi, GLAAD, real quick.
Hi.
Mwah.
Hi.
Okay. Thank you. Go get your sister juice.
Kind of on that, Hershey, you have family here. You know, how have you taken the conversation with drag being so non-controversial, and you have, you are growing a family within the confines of this beautiful art?
I don't have the conversation about this. Nothing for me. After these two, there's nothing to have a conversation about because they've never asked me a question about drag. They know this is Baba, Baba's going to work, and that's where they leave it. The only people that have questions are the adults watching on the outside that don't understand it. So as long as they're good, I'm good. I don't really need to, for me, I don't need to address it with anybody outside of my family. Until they have more questions, there's nothing to talk about for me.
I want to go back real quick to, for any of you who want to jump in, what was that first time you stepped into drag ever? What was that experience like?
I cried.
Did you?
Yes, I was just like I don't know, it just felt so like magical and transformative.
Dawn, what was your first drag experience like? What was
My
your
first drag experience, so it was in 2017 in my mother's bathroom, and I had found a single eyeliner pen that she had just like lost, and I did an entire face, not well, but I did an entire face of like drag makeup with just that eyeliner pen, just to like see like how it transformed and what the shapes looked like no liner, no eyeshadow, no nothing, just to like play with it. And I think, like Amanda said, I felt like the only woman in the world.
Amanda's gooped and gagged right now with that story. I see.
One eyeliner pen. I'm just trying to figure out what it looked like.
Well, it looked like a drawing. It looked like an illustration.
What inspired you to not just start your drag journeys, but stay in it and make it into a career? So Nymphia Wind, I want to start with you first. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your Asian culture as well, and kind of how that was a bit of a confluence with how you've been able to inspire your drag today.
So hard again in makeup. I always want to give up and quit drag every time I'm like putting on makeup, and every time I finish the outfit and like wear my wig, I'm like, this is why I do drag. And how I could continue, you know, seeing yourself in the mirror and seeing how beautiful you can become really gives you fuel to continue torturing yourself to do drag. And, you know, being able to really incorporate my Asian culture is such a privilege, because I feel like, especially in Asia, like, you know, like temple fairs and temple culture is very a masculine area. So being a male and being able to incorporate that and then bring it into a very feminine space is kind of interesting to me, like how I could mix like the masculine and feminine.
Megami, over to you. What's made drag so magical in your life, and how has drag changed your life maybe?
The first really magical experience in drag I ever had was like
going to conventions dressed up as like, you know, I'm a gay boy and like we love our female characters. So like just being visible in a geeky space that is traditionally like made for like straight white boys, and being a queer person, being, you know, Hispanic person, and just taking up the space and being visible, and like people would come up to me and be like, hey, can I take your picture? Like, you know, I love your look, and like thank you for doing this, and like making it okay for other people to kind of exist in that space also. And I think that's a huge reason of why I keep doing it, just to like, you know, if there's anyone out there who doesn't have like the bravery to do it, to say like, just live your life, have fun, and like take up the space. Like, queer people are geeks too. Let's do it.
And Plain Jane, the last word on this one. What makes drag so special to you, and why did you decide to give drag a chance?
Sure. So for me, I, you know, grew up not really being educated about anything queer, you know, anything LGBT. I grew up in a suburb in a fairly conservative Russian household, and I think drag for me is like a rebellion against my upbringing, really, because I growing up, you know, things were so like regimented and, you know, serious, and I was so closeted and self-conscious that, you know, once I sort of, you know, found the courage to get out of that space, primarily thanks to queer media and thanks to Drag Race, it was just like, you know, this is me. I want to express my inner femininity and express it in a creative way, and, you know, be myself. I think that's what drag is for me.
That first time you stepped into drag, what was that experience like for you? Safira, I'm gonna go to you first about your very first drag experience ever.
The first, well, it's threefold basically. I did drag in high school, and in college on Halloween, I dressed up as Leontine Price, who is an opera singer. I think she's like 95 now. But my Safira's first time, it was in Rochester, New York, the home of Kasha Davis and Pandora Box and Darian Lake. And I was at my drag mother's, her name is Delicious. And I just decided I wanted to do drag after seeing a whole bunch of drag queens on stage for a while, and knowing that I'm a dynamic performer. And she painted me for the first time, like backstage. I had a face full of hair. I rehearsed every day with anyone who came to my house. I had this huge loft apartment, and I would just come down the stairs as if that was the front of the stage, and everyone would sit on my couch, and I would just like put on a show for anybody who came over. And then I finally did it, and when I performed Beyonce's Fever First was my debut, and I wore this red dress, and I pulled the curtains back, and all my friends from college and all my friends from Rochester in general were just out there, and I just felt like, yeah, this is it. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life.
Mirage, what about you? Your first time stepping into drag. Did you cry? Was it emotional? What happened?
My very first time getting myself into drag was, you know what? I'm not like the girls who like, you know, perfect your image before and like have an online presence and blah, blah, blah. Like the very first time I ever tried putting makeup on, I went out and got drunk and party. I had a good old time. Like I had no care in the world. I was thinking about this is gonna be my job. I wasn't like worried about anybody who was at the club. Just and I just started doing it every single weekend. I would get myself in drag, a different look, and just hit the town. And it really just snowballed from there, honestly. I don't know how I got to this point, but I love it. It's really turned into, from, you know, just goofing around to like a passion to a career to now it's like this is my whole life. There's no getting out of here now.
Sounds like you just did the next right thing for yourself, and here you are.
Right.
I love
it's
it.
fun. It's something I never ever would have seen for myself, but it's working out. I love it, and I'm never gonna stop. So,
Morphine, last word to you on this one. Your first time in drag, what was that experience like for you?
So I have two first times. Does that make sense? So one was in high school. I was in the theater, like in the drama club is what they called it, and we were at like a house party, and I wanted to just perform in drag, and I got ready at my friend's house, and then I did a little drag show in their basement. It was really weird, but I felt very like it was a little crazy. And then the second time, it was in 2017 on Valentine's Day. I did an amateur drag contest. All my coworkers came, people from high school came, and I won. So then after that, I started doing the competition again and again, week by week, winning until they were just tired of me winning. So then, this happened.
Well, I hope we're not going to be tired of any of you winning this season. You're already winning being on this season. This is not going to be the last time that we talk this season also, ladies. So I'll be back with you in the next few weeks. Congratulations again. Thank you for being not only the representation in drag, but the representation for queer culture on television. That's what GLAAD is all about. And this is the kind of stories and programming and TV we want to see in the world, and you're part of that. So thank you so much, and congrats.
Hi, girls.